So a few nights ago, I was working on my old FJ Cruiser here in the garage, and I noticed something. I can't see very well in here. Now, I have upgraded the lights to those like little LED panel lights, but it still gets kind of dark in certain spots. So I went to my favorite website, Amazon, and I picked these up. These are those hexagonal LED lights that all the famous YouTubers who do automotive stuff and influencers have in their garage. So of course, if we're doing an automotive channel, we got to have the bougie stuff. Now, I know a light install in a garage is not exactly an FJ Cruiser video, but we're going to be doing it anyway because it's my channel and I'll be able to see the FJ a little bit better. So we're going to do this in 3 easy steps. The first step is we're going to unbox everything and construct it and lay it out on the workbenches on how I want it to go on the ceiling. Second step, install it into the ceiling. And then the third step, I'm going to need a little bit of help because that is the wiring step. More on that later. So here is everything in the box. Let me run through all the stuff that comes in here. This is the instructions and the packing slip, I guess you can say, that tells you what all is in the box. And here's the instructions down here. Just 2 steps, that's it. And then just figure it out. There's some zip ties that come with it in case you have a ceiling that's not sheetrocked like mine. If you wanted to zip tie it to the beams or other things that are up there. Here are the screws that we're going to be using. These screws have the sheetrock anchors in there, and the screws are going to attach to the little connector brackets. There's a little hole right there that you'll slip the screw through, and you're actually basically just screwing these in place and then connecting all the lights to. This is going to be how we get power. Not excited about it, but we'll talk about it when we get to that section of the video. Here are the brackets, like we said earlier. They come in elbow style and the little tri-way or the 3-way style. There are 24 of the lights. We'll get to that in just a second, and those are the light tubes there. There are 11 of the 2-ways, and then there are 9 of the 3-ways. And like I said, last but not least, here are all the lights. Now, we are not going to be orienting the lights in this fashion. If you can kind of see what we're wanting or what we're kind of working with here, I do have those 2 lights there, and I want to fill in like this dead space. So I drew a little diagram. Let me show you. So here's the diagram that we're going to kind of go with. This is the part where that little dongle power thing is going to come out and connect to the electricity. And please forgive the hexagon that I was trying to draw down there at the bottom, but I ran out of space. So essentially what will happen is we'll have maybe there'll be a light here and a light here. So this part will fill in the majority of the space. And then the next piece here will start to kind of move into that spot where the garage door opener is. So this is basically the look that we are trying to achieve. And it's going to fit kind of in this spot here with the 3 hexagons going across that way, and then the couple hexagons that are extending into this space here. So I kind of lined it up on the floor how it's going to look, and it looks like it's going to fit just about right. I left some of the other little brackets over there on the workbench, and I also pivoted away from these workbenches because, as you can see, there's not a lot of space, and I'm going to end up having to get that ladder, start attaching some stuff real soon. So here's the look, and then I will have power that will be coming out of this one, but obviously I'll have to orient it in a different way. And so let's start the process of getting this up there. So here's the first little section that we have attached to the ceiling. This is going to be a super tedious process, but basically you can kind of see, zoom in a little bit there. You can see finger exactly up there where the screw is attached to the bracket. And I did a little measuring to make sure if I put the first one there that I'll have enough to spread all the way over here. It's going to fit pretty close. Because I'm doing it by myself, I think ideally if you just assemble it like on the floor, and I've already kind of picked it up, put it over there. If you assemble the floor and then just hoist it up, that's probably the best way. but I'm by myself, so I'm gonna have to do it just one piece at a time. Hopefully it doesn't interfere with the actual lights there and there. And if it does, I'll just have to finagle some things around, but fingers crossed. All right, y'all, so check it out. It's kind of like I'm an expert planner because, like, if you look, I mean, that's like pretty much perfectly lined up where it's supposed to be. Now, I got a couple little issues and I have one confession to make. So confession first. This is my little bucket I was using for the attachment screws for the brackets and also the sheetrock anchors. And you'll notice there's a lot more sheetrock anchors than there are screws because I decided to skip all the sheetrock anchor things because as I was screwing them in, I realized, you know what, this is pretty sturdy. No one is going to be reaching up and kind of grabbing this stuff, and it's pretty lightweight. So I just went for it, and I just went zoom, 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 and did like one hexagon at a time, and ended up just using the screws into the sheetrock. All right, so the issue we're having now is how do I test the power? This is the only like little adapter thingy that came with the kit. So I got to figure out a way before my electrician comes to be able to test to see if these things actually work before we wire it in permanently. So I found an old I just got off of Amazon extension cord that I have conveniently cut. And I think this is what we're going to try to do to test the power and see if it actually is going to work here for us. But we're going to go white to red, green and green for the ground, and then black and blue because B and B match up. And then we're going to plug that in to the lights and then plug the power in to the garage door opener in a little spot and hopefully not electrocute myself. All right, so the little white part dongle here is attached to the bracket, the three-way bracket on the edge, providing power to the whole system in a little series current action here. Whew, I'm getting a little nervous. So hopefully this is not one of those like Christmas Vacation where it's and then like there's an explosion of sparks. I just want there to be light in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug this in 3, oh boy, 2, 1, and whoa! Wow, that's kind of bright. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and unplug this. They work. I'm not super confident in what I did over here, so I'm gonna go ahead and plug it, but guys, there's so much light in here now. Oh, I can't wait. This is going to look so awesome. So now get ready for part 3. The actual wiring of this little hexagon light system. Boop. There's the electrician, old dad with the New Balances. Something's about to get fixed. Isn't that right?
Yep, we're gonna do it.
All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're taking the pigtail end that's going to fit into the actual bracket on the lights, which is going to be located right there. And I have gone ahead and added a few butt connectors to this extended wire known as Romex wire, thanks to my electrician for supplying that. And now the next step is taking about 15 feet or so of this wire after I heat shrink it all up together and tidy it up. And then we're gonna poke a hole right in the sheetrock near that light fixture and then feed it up through the ceiling into the attic. All right, so we have the pigtail end that's attached to the hexagon lights, and we have the extension threaded through, and then here's part of it just kind of dangling out of the top of the attic. And then now, let me show you what we got going on in the attic. All right, so it's a little dark up here because we had to turn the light off because we're gonna be using the switch to the attic light to power this. So basically what we have is a Christmas tree. And then we have the wire coming up underneath the sheetrock and from the floor, and then we're going to thread it up this little post to that light fixture right there, where we're going to tap into the power to be able to turn on those hexagon lights. All right, so this is the back of the light fixture box. You have the white wire to a, what do you call these things?
Wire nut.
The wire nuts. And then there's the ground that's just kind of hanging out. So basically what Dad's about to do is he's going to attach each of these wires to each of these wires using an additional wire nut. And I'll show you what that's going to look like here in just a second. All right, so we have the wire nuts connected, white on white, black on black, ground on ground. So now we're going to shove everything back into the housing and then put the light cover, or put the light back on with the bulb, and then test it out and see what we got going on.
All right, moment of truth. Let's see how they work. In 3, 2, 1. Whoa. That is a huge difference. A huge difference. Goodness gracious. Wow. Those came out fantastic. I love it. I love it. So thank you guys for watching me rig my rod for my adventure, one mod at a time.